Hi, very good morning and a warm welcome to the next session in Java. In the previous sessions, we have discussed about Spring and Spring Buffer classes. Hope you all enjoyed the previous session and hope you all practiced the programs regarding the previous session. Right? So in today's session, we mainly concentrate on character class and files in Java programming language. So how to create a file, how to open a file, how to read and write the content from and into the files, how to copy the content of one file to another file, etc. Right? So today let us start the things with character class. Right? So Java provides a wrapper class. The name of the wrapper class is character, and this particular character class resides in a package java.lang package. So we all know Java programming language consists of multiple number of packages. Among all those packages, lang package is one of the package, and it is also called as default package in Java. So default package in the sense whether we import it or not, it will be included in the program automatically by the JVM. So here this lang package consists of many classes. Among all those classes, character class is one of the class, and it is a wrapper class, right? So an object of type character contains a single field whose type is character. So we can create objects for this character class. So that object, right? That object contains a single field. It contains a single field. In that single field, we can store only a character. Don't worry, I will explain. Next one, creating a character object. So how we can create a character object in the sense, character space ch equal to new character of a, which means here character is a class name. The thing which was surrounded here is a class name, and ch is an object name, right? And in this object, we are going to store the value a, right? So let us see the things in the programming window so that it will be very easy to understand. So this was the program in the previous session. Now let us see, let us take a new Java program here, right? So here the name of the program is, name of the class is ch. We are working with character. So if we want to create an object for character, we can create it by using, just a second. Character space some object name ch equal to new character. I'm sorry. New character, and I am going to store the character a here. So please keep one thing in your mind, when representing the characters, use the single quotates, right? So now system.out.println ch, right? System.out.println ch will print the given character on the output screen. So let us save this code as ch.java, compile this one and run this one. So if you observe the output of this code, it is showing a single a as an output because the ch contains the character a, right? So now, so this is the way how we can create an object for character class, right? So the above statement creates a character object which contains a, which is of type character. There is only one constructor in character class which expects an argument of character data type. So Here, inside the character class, right? Character is a default class, right? Character is a default class. Wait a second. Character is a default class. So the structure of the character class will be similar to this one. So the character class inside the lang package will be similar to this one. So inside the character class, there is only one constructor, right? There is only one constructor which will take, right? Which will take the character as parameter, right? So this is how the character class structure will be there inside the Java lang package. So that is the point which was represented here. So there is only one constructor in the character class. So constructor in the sense we all already studied that if the class name and the method name both are same, and if the method do not have any return type, then the method is called as a constructor. Here you can find here the class name is character and the method name here is character, and this method do not have any return type. So the class name and method name both are same. That's why this is called as a constructor. So inside character class, there is only one constructor, and that too, that constructor which will expect an argument of character data type. So if somebody wants to execute this constructor, they need to pass one value. That value is of character type. Here you can observe, if I want to make a call to the constructor, if I want to execute that constructor, I need to pass a character data type value. Character in the sense, anything which was represented inside the double quotates is called as a character. For example, if I have represented this one like this, it was represented inside the single quotates, it can be considered as a character, right? And then, and next one, any special symbol, for example, percentage, it can also be considered as a character, right? And at the same time, if this consists of something called as J inside the single quotations, it can also be considered as a character. So character is nothing but anything. It may be a digit, or it may be a special symbol, or it may be alphabets from A to Z, or it may be capital letters or small letters. Anything which was represented inside the double quotates is a character. So while creating an object for character class, we need to pass a character data type value as a parameter, right? So let us see the next slide here. So if we pass a primitive character into a method that expects an object, the compiler automatically converts the char to a character class object. So this feature is called as auto-boxing and unboxing. So if we pass a character here, so you can observe here, we passed a character here, right? We passed a character here. So this character will be automatically converted into char data type. So the process of converting the parameter into a character is called as auto-boxing and unboxing, right? Next one. So the character class is immutable, like string class. That is, once its object is created, it cannot be changed, right? So while dealing with the strings, right? While dealing with the strings, as I explained earlier, I will show it once again. For example, I have created a string. Let us take this one. I have created a string space s equal to new string, right? String space s equal to new string, and the string consists of ABC, right? ABC. And for example, if I try to modify s equal to something called as XYZ, right? What will happen in these two statements? Just listen. After executing this particular statement at line number 10, an object will be created, and the name of the object is S. And the object will contain a string with the name A, B, and C. So here S will be the name of the object, right? And the string will be situated in this particular object, right? Some space will be created, and the name of the space is S. And inside that space, it will store ABC. And in the next statement, I try to modify this ABC with XYZ. So now what will happen is a new space will be created, and the name of the new space is yes, right? And it says it will contain a string called as XYZ, and the old space will be deleted. And if somebody again change the content in the S, and again a new space will be created, and the updates will be performed in the new space. So uh, this is what will happen in case of string class. And for example, if the same thing was created by using a string buffer class, right? Buffer class. Now what will happen in both the cases? Let us listen. For the first statement, right? For the first statement, an object will be created, and the name of the object is S. In this object, it will store ABC, and whenever the S was modified with XYZ, the changes will be performed, right? So this ABC will be erased in the object, and in place of ABC, it will be updated with X, Y, and Z. So once the space is created, all the changes will be done in the same space. That is why, right? That is why string buffer is called as mutable, right? String buffer is called as mutable, and in case of string, it is immutable. Once the space is created, we cannot change the content in the space. If we try to change the content, a new space will be created, and the changes will be performed in the new space. So, right? So, listen to this point here. The character class is immutable. So, here in the character class, right? First of all, if you observe here, we have created some space, and the name of the space is CH. And inside CH, we try to store A, right? We try to store A. Now, if I try to modify, for example, if I try to modify CH equal to something called as B, and now this space will be, right? This space will be changed to B, and no new space is created in case of character class. The changes will be performed in the same class. That is why this character class is called as immutable class, right? I think now everything is clear for you, right? The people who don't understand what is mutable and what is immutable and how strings can be created, right? We all studied that strings can be created in two ways: by creating an object for string class, or by creating an object for string buffer class, right? So when we create an object using string class, it is immutable, right? And when we create an object by using string buffer class, it is mutable. So similar to the string buffer class, this character class is also immutable class, right? This character class is also called as immutable class. You can find here. Now it has printed B because we have updated the CH with B. That's why we got the output as B, right? So now let us see the next one. So here there are some methods, right? There are some methods. Let us see the methods one by one. First one is letter. So this method will return true in case the character is a letter, or false in case the character is not a letter. So let us see. Here we have kept B in CH, right? We have kept B in CH. Now let us use this one is, right? Is letter, right? Is letter. What we are going to check, in the sense we are going to check ch dot is letter. So the things were saved inside ch, right? Inside ch we have a, and it was modified with b. Now we are trying to check whether the things inside ch is a letter or not. So let us save this code, compile this code, and just a second, we have got some, just a second, I think we have written some mistake here. Just a second. So just make some changes in the program. Make some changes. So here you can use character is letter is a one of the method in character class, and we are going to check whether ch is a letter or not. Now, if it returns true, that means ch contains a letter, and if it returns false, that means ch do not contain a letter. So we don't have any errors here. Just run the code. So if I run the code, I got B because ch contains B, and the next system.out.println is printing true. That means ch contains a character, and that character is a letter. So let us change something here. Let us change this character with a digit, and now check whether this one will return false or not. So if I check this one, it has printed 2, right? We have printed ch, that's why it has printed 2, and then it has printed false because it is not a letter, right? And similar to this method, there are few more methods in the character class, right? Is digit, right? Is white space, is uppercase, is lowercase, or two uppercase, two lowercase, or two string. Right? Let us see each and everything one by one. Next one, let us rewrite this statement. Right? Let us rewrite this statement as is digit. Is digit. Compile the code and now run the code. We are getting true because ch contains 2 and 2 is a digit. That's why we are getting true in the next statement. Next one is uppercase. Is uppercase. Just a second. So we are getting false because 2 is not an uppercase, and at the same time 2 is not also lowercase because 2 is not a character. If it is a character or if it is a letter, we can say whether it is uppercase or not. But here 2 is a digit, right? 2 is a digit. That's why we are getting false and false. Let us rewrite this one as something called as A or B, and now check the things. It is a lowercase. So for the fifth system.out.println, we are getting true, and for the fourth we are getting false because it is not an uppercase. And similarly, we can also convert these things, right? We can also convert these things to uppercase and to lowercase. Already the character is in lowercase. B is a lowercase letter. That means small letters. I want to convert it into a capital B. So we can use this method to uppercase. So you can find here the small b was converted into capital B because we have used this to uppercase method, right? And so these are the usage of these following methods. In order to find whether the given method is a letter or not, we can use this one is letter. And in order to find whether the given character is a digit or not, we can use is digit. And if there are white spaces, for example, instead of character, if we just represent single quotates with empty space, then we can find it whether it is a white space or not by using is white space method. And to find the given character, the letter is an uppercase, or whether letter is an uppercase, we can use this is uppercase. And whether to find the given letter is an lowercase, we use this is lowercase. And in order to convert a small letter to a capital letter, we use this to uppercase method. And in order to convert a capital letter to a small letter, we use this to lowercase method. And in order to convert the character into string, we use this to string method, right? So these are the following methods where we use these things in order to make some changes in the characters, right? Let us move to the next slide. right? These are the methods, right? You can see the description here. You can see the description here. So is uppercase method, it is going to test if the character is uppercase, and it returns true in case the character is uppercase, and it returns false in case the character is lowercase, and to uppercase, right? So it is used to convert, right? It is used to convert the small letter into a capital letter, and that there is no change in the storage. The storage value will be changed. That, for example, uh, so the method, this method, to uppercase method. So there is one space where the name of the space is CH and the character inside CH is B. Because of this statement, the character inside CH is B. Now if I use this method to uppercase, that B will be displayed as capital B, and that B will not be updated inside the CH. Right? Just keep the things in your mind. And next one is digit. It will return true if the argument is digit and returns false otherwise, or is letter or is white space. All these things we already discussed. Let us see the next one. File class. So file class, it is one of the classes in Java, right? So by using this class, we will work on files in Java. We can read the data from a file. We can write the data into a file. We can copy. We can append, right? So anything we can do. So basically, we will use the graphical user interface components in order to interact with the files. And if the same thing was performed by using the programming language, for example, by using a Java program, if I want to read the content of a file, if I want to write the content into the file, if I want to copy the content, if I want to append, or if I want to delete anything, if we want to make the changes to the data in the file by using the Java program, we can use this file class, right? So the file classes are divided into two types. There are some classes in Java which are called as file classes. These file classes are divided into two types. So the division is in the sense they are divided into byte oriented and character oriented. Byte oriented and character oriented. So if the reading of data from the file is byte by byte, then it is called as byte oriented classes. If the reading of the data from the file is character by character, then it is called as character oriented classes, which means each and every time if we want to read or write 8 bits of data, then we can make use of byte oriented classes. And each and every time if we want to read 16 bits of data, at the time we can use character oriented classes. Let us have a look at these two types of classes, right? So if we want to read the data, right? If we want to read the data, then we can use the classes called as input stream. And if we want to write the data by using byte oriented classes, we can use output stream. For example, we have discussed that file classes, right? File classes are divided into two categories. File classes are divided into two categories. In the first category, they are called as byte oriented classes. First category are called as byte oriented classes, and the second category are called as character oriented classes, right? Byte in the sense they are of 8 bits, and character in the sense they are of 16 bits, right? So how to find if there is some class in under file class, how to find that class is a byte class or a character class? For example, if the class contains, right, if the class contains stream at the end, if the class contains stream at the end, then it is called as byte class, and if the class contains reader or writer at the end, then it is called as character oriented classes. So byte oriented classes will end their name with stream. Character oriented classes will end their name with reader or writer. Again, the stream is divided into two things: input stream and the next one is output stream. Input stream and output stream. So if a class name contains input stream at the end, which means that class is used to read the data, and that class belongs to byte oriented classes. As I said earlier, if the end of the name is stream, then it comes under byte oriented. If the end of the name is reader or writer, then it comes under character oriented. Right? So here the stream again is divided into input or output. Input means reading, output means writing, right? So if a file, for example, there is one file called as file input stream, which means it is a class which is used to read the data, and it comes under byte oriented classes because the end is stream, right? So keep the things in your mind. File classes are divided into two types: byte oriented classes and character oriented classes. Byte oriented classes read and write the data 8 bits. Character oriented classes read and write the data 16 bits. So if the file name contains stream, then it comes under byte oriented systems, byte oriented classes. And if the file name contains reader or writer, it comes under character oriented classes. Okay, so inside the stream, if there is input, they are used for reading. Inside the class name, if it contains output, then it is used for writing. Right? Similarly, when coming under character oriented classes, if we have reader, then it is used for inputs. If we have writer, then it is used for outputs. So keep the difference in your mind, and later we are going to work on the programs with this theoretical part. So let us move to the next slide. So you can find here, the byte oriented classes are divided into two types again, right? The two types are input stream and output stream. So there is one thing called as buffered input stream. Input means it is used to read. When it has stream, it comes under byte oriented classes. And then byte array input stream, it is used to read from a byte array. Data input stream, it is used to read Java standard data type. Object input stream, file input stream, piped input stream, file filter input stream, right? You can find here all these things contains input stream, means reading by using byte oriented classes, right? So when you find input, it is called as reading. When you find stream, it comes under byte oriented classes. Similarly, when you find stream, right, they comes under byte oriented classes. When you find output, they are used to write the data. Buffer output stream, it is used to write the data. Byte array output stream, it is used to write the data, right? Similarly, when we have read or write, when we have reader or writer, let's move to the next one. So these are the character oriented classes. These character oriented classes are divided into reader classes and writer classes. So when we want to read the data, we use these reader classes, and when we want to write the data, we use writer classes. So these are the examples of the reader or writer classes. You can see here buffered reader. Reader means it comes under character oriented. It is used to read the data. Buffer writer, it comes under character oriented. It is used to write the data, right? Similarly, we can find here In order to read from the file, we use file reader. In order to write into the file, we use file writer, right? I think you all got the differences well in your mind, right? So with this, I am going to close today's session. And in the next session, we will work with programs on files if possible, or we can move to the next unit, unit number 2. Right, in unit number 2, for today, we have completed unit number 1. But in unit 2 also, we have covered some of the topics. In unit number 2, the first topic is that types of inheritances. We already covered the types of inheritances in the unit number 1 and in the introduction of Java programming language, right? So the people who are still having the doubts regarding the inheritance and their types, they can watch the video which is already kept in the YouTube channel, right? So with this, I am going to close today's session. And if you have any queries regarding today's session, you can place the comment in the comment box. And in the next session, we are going to meet with the unit number 2. And thank you everyone for being here, and thanks a lot. We will meet you in the next session.